This video is brought to you by CoolstuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock.
Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and today in the arena we are playing Mardu Hush Titan. This started out as a deck that I found in one of the recent Aether Hub results that made top 8. That deck was a little bit Timmy with a whole bunch of kind of strange card selection, interesting things here and there, but I wanted to diversify the answers, try to make a proper mid-range deck out of it. So what are we built around? We're built around Hushbringer, which on its own is a real frustrating card to Simic and Mono Black and several other decks in the meta, as nearly everything that isn't an adventure creature has a comes into playability. But on its own, Hushbringer usually isn't enough of a strategy. It dies too easily to any kind of removal, straight up to Bone Crusher Giant Stomp ability. So what you need is a powerful synergy and a way to keep the opponent under pressure and struggling with Hushbringer, even if the matchup is not great for Hushbringer. Enter Kroxa, the Titan of Death's Hunger. With Hushbringer out, the trigger doesn't happen, and Kroxa remains on the field as a 2-mana 6/6 with an attack ability. But we're not done there. Playing Mardu means we also get access to Clackbridge Troll, and with Hushbringer on the battlefield, the Troll doesn't create those goat tokens. It's an 8/8 trample haste for 5. The opponent can still sacrifice a creature to tap your Troll and let you draw a card, but that is fine. There's nothing very wrong with that, because the more cards you draw, the better your situation gets, and this is not a legendary, so you can spam them all you want. What's better than an 8/8 Trample Haste? How about an 8/8 Trample Haste Double Strike with the power of Embercleave? Or Lifelink with the power of Shadow Spear? A few pieces of equipment take advantage of these big monsters and make them even better. But what if we don't want our monsters to die to removal, as they so often do? Agonizing Remorse attacks the hand and tries to pick it apart so that your monsters have a better chance of doing their thing. What if the opponent kills your Hushbringer or your big creatures? We have 3 Order of the Midnight and 2 Sorin Vengeful Bloodlord to try to keep Hushbringer on the battlefield doing the Hushbringer thing. In the meantime, we don't want to die, so we have Scorching Dragonfire, Murderous Rider, 4 copies of Bone Crusher Giant, Mortify, and Elspeth Conquers Death to keep the opponent's permanents at bay. Elspeth Conquers Death has the added ability of eventually getting back a creature like Hushbringer, Kroxa, or the Clackbridge Troll. So that's the deck. The mana base, I love the Fabled Passage mana base for best of 1 compared to Scrylands. I've talked about this and I've written about this in a few places, but I think you need to be fast and on the board. And 1 Castle Locthwain, which I think is good, but otherwise I don't think we need castles in this deck. Doesn't run out of things to do too often. It does have a hard time competing with the decks that go super wide, super fast, if it doesn't have a Hushbringer. I'm not sure how meta competitive the deck is, to be honest. Mostly I've played it in the play queue. The games have been fun, but ultimately not that competitive. So we're going to play a standard event, and it's going to be the first time I run one with this deck, and we're going to see how it holds up in the meta. And if it does well, you better believe I will have a Clackbridge Troll swing in an Embercleave in a few future streams. Are you ready, Archimedes? Do you see a Hushbringer and a Titan in this hand? I see a Hushbringer, and I love Agonizing Remorse. This hand is a bit slow, though. This hand is very slow. I guess if we scry a basic land to the top, it's a very good hand, so we'll keep it. Pretty bad against a turn 3 Rotting Regisaur, but there's a lot of things that we can compete with. Hey, we drew the land. Blue. I don't think we want an Embercleave at this stage of the game. Double blue. Might be Blue Devotion. Might be counter all your stuff. Let's get in there. Let's go jump in this hand and see what's cooking. Quench is cooking. Okay, we made them discard a Quench. When you look at it that way, it's not so bad. Uh-oh, they're missing land drops. Well, depending how many counter spells they have, could be bad. So I think what I like here is saying go and using Bone Crusher Giant on their turn, or if they flash in a Brineborn Cutthroat, because then hopefully we get their mana tapped down, and then we can resolve next turn double spell, Agonizing Remorse, and have a Hushbringer. I'm not sure what Hushbringer is going to do to them, but there's usually something. Maybe there's Thassa's Oracle. I don't know. But just having that card on the battlefield can be good. Here's Opt at instant speed. Okay. I don't flash in the Bone Crusher Giant here. I'm really okay if they counter it, as long as I get to counter them on their turn, as long as I make them act on their turn. Blue white. Okay. So here's the stomp. Order of the Midnight. Now it's a little more like I want them to counter something because I get it back, but they'll have to deal with threats on the board anyway. Hushbringer is probably very bad in the matchup. I wonder if there's any ground, if there's any way we just want to run out this Bone Crusher Giant because we can get it back. But I think we still want to do our Agonizing Remorse Hushbringer turn. Let's play around Quench. I could use another white, but I don't have it in the deck. Awkward. Yep. Oh boy, it's going to be one of those games. Well, they are stuck on mana. They have some Brazen Borrowers that can be obnoxious, but Bone Crusher Giant's good against those. And there's Teferi Time Raveler, which we all know and hate. So I think we take that. The Gadwick is going to get strong later, and that's a problem. But that is something Hushbringer affects. So we probably play the Hushbringer. The opponent probably bounces the Hushbringer with a Borrower. Yeah. I think it's still the Teferi. And then we try to keep Hushbringer on the battlefield to keep Gadwick from being a problem. Yep, I think we get to see their borrowing. The deck does need land, but we need a threat. Okay, it didn't draw land. Love it. Now we need some, like Kroxa would be really good. Just something to pressure them. Oh, it was on top. I hate that they show me that. All right, here's the Hushbringer. And just a reminder, we do want to keep it around because of Gadwick. And now let's try a Bone Crusher Giant. The opponent, they can Brazen Borrow the Bone Crusher if they wish. Okay, they go for the 3-1. I would have saved that and tried to flash it in when the Hushbringer attacks, possibly. And they found a land. Now we'll see if they know how Hushbringer works, because they might try the Gadwick for 1. I think they know. That's like offering a trade with my Hushbringer, and they know it. So they say go. All right. We've still got removal. We don't have any of our big Hushbringer pieces. Like a Clackbridge Troll there would have been pretty awesome. I guess the opponent still has a Borrower that we need to get out of their hand. All right, let's attack. The opponent flashing in Borrower, we can respond with Scorching Dragonfire or Stomp. All right, they're going to take it. So there is this problem of a time wipe. They have to draw a white to get it. So I think we take the chance that they don't hit their white source, and we try to stomp their Borrower and then play our Giant and try to get there, especially having an Order of the Midnight to rebuild our board. So let's see. Oh, they have Chemister's Insight. That's a really good draw for them. And now they get to time wipe. Oh, if I had known they had Chemister's Insight, I wouldn't have made that play at all. But we knew all their cards except for one card that they top decked, and it was a great card. All right, so mid-range decks versus, like, yeah, mid-range decks are going to have a very miserable time versus this control deck. It's everything that you hate. So I guess we still try to stop the Gadwick, but the opponent has a Borrower, so they can bounce this when the right time comes. And then they get to Gadwick anyway. I'm not sure what we do to get around that. Maybe we draw a second Hushbringer. But at least this way we can play them both out. And the opponent just might hit planar cleansing now. They have 3 unknowns in their hand. But you still want to try to have the Hushbringer around in case you just top deck the Clackbridge Troll, right? Second time wipe. Seems good. Okay. Well, that's not the worst. They didn't draw another land. They're having a terrible time having lands, which is pretty... It's like the only reason this is still a game, but it does mean their hand is full of spells and effects to beat us. And there you go, planar cleansing. Board wipe tribal, everybody. So much fun. Okay, we draw the Agonizing Remorse for the Gadwick. But they have a Fae of Wishes. I guess we make them use it. Letting them draw 4 cards here, it's just the end of the game, although the game is pretty much over anyway. We have no pressure on them. Yeah, I can concede here and save about 20 minutes of my life. Hamlord. Our first game was as bad as it could possibly be. We are definitely a mid-range deck. We need to play other mid-range decks that rely on creatures and creature synergies. We played the oldest school, most obnoxiously powerful blue-white control that doesn't even run the new Dream Trawler, so it would have taken probably half an hour. We'll keep this hand. We will hope that we get to, I don't know, play some Magic here. Swamp. Order of the Midnight off the top. So when I have 3 lands, it's always tough for me to decide if I want to crack a Fabled Passage here, but I think we will. And we'll get another Swamp, another Black Source. Okay, that's fine. We don't have a Hushbringer, which is too bad. So where do we start this game? Do we do Agonizing Remorse, or do we Kroxa our opponent? Feels like it has to be some Agonizing Remorse. Next turn we might have to Mortify or Murderous Rider this, play some removal spells for a turn or 2. Our life total will be in jeopardy. 2 drags to the Underworld. It's not a big deal. Erebos, the Bleak-Hearted, is probably the hardest card in this hand to remove. And there's a Vindictive Vampire, which doesn't scare me. Let's take out the Erebos. Yep, take the kid's Mythic Rare. Bully CGB. So evil. Okay, they drew something to go with the Priest, the Orzhov Enforcer. Could have been worse. Another land off the top, but these lands are painful. We'll need Sorin and Kroxa to gain us a lot of life back. But let's pay it, because we probably want to use this Mortify and then this Murderous Rider to slow the beat down. The opponent will go for the Vampire. That says whenever another creature dies, 1 damage. So before that enters the battlefield, let's fire off Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I don't think we're going to have any enchantment problems. Let's use the Mortify here. $13. Gonna have to keep an eye on that life total. So this turn, let's use the Murderous Rider to take out the Vampire. Since our opponent has 2 drag to the Underworlds, well, maybe I should just work on knocking the drags out of the hand. Because once they're... Right now, playing a blocker is useless because of drag, but once we get rid of them, it becomes a lot better. Yeah, I'm just going to use the Murderous Rider. Okay, they drew a Yara, which is a good thing to target, but we're still under a lot of pressure. Swiftly end. Unfortunately, we take another one from the Vampire. And you see, even though the deck has some janky cards, it has enough synergy to keep our life total decreasing. The Troll. The Troll! Ugh. And I have nothing to get back here. So how do I stop this? I could play out the Sorin and plus it just to gain 1 life. Well, let's at least Kroxa away 1 of the drag to the Underworlds, and then escaping Kroxa can get the other one if I can get something to die. If I shock and play Murderous Rider, I'm down to 4, then I'm down to 1, and if one of these dies, I lose. It's really bad. Maybe it is better to play Soren and try to get the opponent to attack Soren, just to try to slow the bleeding. Plus, the Clackbridge Troll would have lifelink if the opponent didn't tap it down, so it means they pretty much have to tap it down if Soren's on the field, which gives us 3 life in a card. So yeah, that'll do better staying alive as long as we can do something about these drag to the underworlds. So do they attack me or Soren? They look in the graveyard, there's not much there. Soren is just trying to keep me alive a little longer. What do? They go face. Yeah, I think that's the right decision. And they blanked, they drew a land. Gave me a chance here. Fabled Passage. That is enough cards in the graveyard almost for Kroxa. I guess we need one more. Well, let's start here. Here's my Kroxa. So the plan is play this, make them discard, bring it back with Soren, make them discard, play Murderous Rider, have a blocker. Remember, only a 2 casting cost. Only a 2 casting cost. Now I'm really curious if the opponent will cast this drag to the underworld because they think Kroxa will stick around. It won't. It did not escape, so I don't get to keep it. But I'm still just curious if they're gonna fire it off. Nope, they understand. Okay. Alright, Kroxa still can't escape. We need one more card in the graveyard. We could order the Midnight and cast it again, but there's not a lot of point to that. Let's just play this Murderous Rider. Swords up. Another Vindictive Vampire is a big problem. Orzhov Enforcer can attack here. If I block it, I take 2, and I gain 2, and I lose my Rider. I don't think that's worth it. I'm only taking 1 a turn from this card on its own. Bone Crusher Giant off the top. That is something that can go to the graveyard and can tag this Enforcer. If I play the Troll, like I said, they can sacrifice these, but when they do that, I get drained for 2. So the Troll's Goat tokens only net me 1 life. It's not great. This is a tough game. There's a lot going in a lot of ways. I don't even think I want the Stomp ability, because if I Stomp this, they get the 1/1 and they get the triggers. I think I just play this out as a 4/3. And say go. I'm still holding on to the Order of the Midnight for value. I don't feel like pressuring the opponent in the air is that good, but I guess it could be gaining me 2 life a turn. Sacrifice a creature to draw a card. The combo! Oh my god. Their deck kicked into Top Gear Limited. I should have saved that to attack with. I could have gained 4 life. That was a mistake. Alright. That has to go. Kroxa can come out. Scorching Dragonfire can tag this. And we attack for 2 life, I guess? No, we can also bring back like a Bone Crusher Giant, right? Okay. Tag this. Make them pay some life. We need this life, so we don't just die. And say go. So we can be at 5 with a block from Murderous Rider. And if we get to attack next turn with Kroxa, we should be okay. But yeah, I should have played this a long time ago just to attack for Soren and gain 2 life. I don't know why that didn't occur to me. Oops. Slow brain today. Slow CGB. So the opponent's hoping I block badly. I don't have to, though. I can do this. If I block here, I lose 2 anyway, so I may as well block here. So this is 1, 2, 3, and I'm at 5. All right. Virtual 5. Okay, that should shift the tide. Do we troll him? We troll him. We must be trolling. Absolutely must be. Sacrifice a thingy, give me 3 life and a card. Then there's also a gain drain here. Elspeth conquers death. So 1, 2, 3, yeah, we're going to gain so much life here we want to be attacking. Dead goats. Let's get out the Bone Crusher. So despite my misplays, looks like we might endure this one. Our opponent's on a pretty different build of Black Devotion. Might be a budget build of Black Devotion. And yeah, I don't feel like I quite earned this one. I've got to make it up to you all in the next video. Would you like to tap my troll? Nah, I understand. Remy? Rem1? Remuno. Awkward hand, but it is removal. Lots of removal. And it's a matchup where that's not going to help me. That's not good. I always look at these hands and I'm like, the mono red deck, we can compete with that. And then what happens? Fires of Invention. The ultimate over-the-top mid-range deck. It doesn't care about your removal. It just lives long enough to torture and destroy you. What could the opponent play that I'd want to use an effect on? Nothing. Unless they ran out of Bone Crusher Giant, so I'm just going to play this land tapped. I can't even instant speed tag a Teferi with these, because Teferi is stupid. And I'm a blue-white mage. I do agree with the people that Teferi is stupid. Just to be clear. So I could shoot Teferi with this. Take away the ability to bounce something. But then it pluses, and next turn the Bone Crusher Giant doesn't even interact with it. It's all a disaster. Everything's a disaster here. I think I'll just save these effects. I can team them up to take out maybe a creature. Okay, they don't have fires yet, but I don't want to use my Mortify unless it's on fires. Nice little 2-for-1 for the opponent, as if they weren't ahead enough. Here's fires, and would you like to also play a nice free Cavalier? Maybe some free Cavaliering for you. At this point, we need to hit our land drops, Clackbridge Troll, have our opponent let it attack, or somehow Deafening Clarion their own goats, and then Embercleave it, I guess? But our opponent's not blowing us up yet. This is usually where they play the second fires, right? Love that sound. The Ratters. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, Is this what the deck was meant to do? Hopefully Hushbringer doesn't instantly die. The Hawk. Okay. Double Hushbringer. Oh my goodness. If our deck was made up of 12 cards and some land. Let's torture this white opponent. White decks hate this. Well, if they use the Daxos thing. Some of them use Hushbringer themselves. Like here's Linden. Roar. What you got? Show us what you've got. All right. I don't think I attack. Let's just hold off their forces. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Now what do you do with it? What do? You want to attack? You want to build something up? You want to crash into the Hushbringer here? All right. You want to make a bigger creature, maybe to trade with this Kroxa? Well, we can get Kroxa right back, so... Second Linden. All right. In that case, we play our Hushbringer, number deuce. We're going to have the Clackbridge next turn. Our opponent will have 1,000,000 life. I'm trying to decide, do we want to play a flyer here, or do we hold this to get something back? I think we hold it to get something back. We're chumping the Pride Mate, I'm pretty sure, just trying to keep our life total high, and we'll bring it back later. What a master. We both have our most polarized, like the absolute, if we just draw these cards, that's what our deck is about. That's what our hands are. All right, fill that graveyard for the escape. Then the deck has Troll. Now, would you like to sacrifice something to keep my Troll from attacking you? No, they don't care about that. All right, so we'll head over here with you two and head face with you. Now, does that kill me? Looks like it does. So... let's not do that. Let's attack over here. Let's have an 8/8 ready to do some blocking. Let's get the trigger from Kroxa to continue attacking their hand, and let's keep their Ajani under pressure so that it has to basically go away if they want to make another Pride Mate. Okay, Ajani down. So the last card's the third Ajani, right? Because so far they've had 3 Lindens and 2 Ajanis. Oh, okay. Sure. Interesting. So we're probably taking down the biggest Pride Mate. We could also take down the Linden to stop the growth, because then they're out of life gain. But to do that, we'd have to take so much damage. I think we take down the biggest Pride Mate. Or not the biggest, but the one that... the one the Troll can eat. Let's put it that way. Scorching Dragonfire can take out Linden. Now we're talking. But we don't have enough mana to also play a Troll. There's still a Hushbringer in the yard. And we have this attacking, but I don't think we're worried. How do I get something to die? To make my Order of the Midnight better. Alright, so I think we're going to take out the Linden this turn, which means we need a blocker for this, which is what the Hushbringer can do. If the opponent top decks a removal spell, we could lose with that line. I'm not willing to take that risk just yet. Well, we can put out a second Hushbringer. That's what we can do. Let's see if the opponent wants to sacrifice something to the Troll here. Nope. Send a message. Get him. All right. Down to 11. Alter the fate. Get the Hushbringer. Play the Hushbringer. And who knows what they might run? They might run some pump spell. Well, I guess this is legendary, and they could draw the fourth one, which is probably more likely that they have 4 than that they have a pump spell. So we'll wait until we're in combat to cast this Scorching Dragonfire. So one more time for anybody posting in comments, we didn't go for double troll last turn because the opponent could sack Atomic to a troll and then top deck a removal spell for our 1 Hushbringer. And with that, with Linden and the Pridemate would have been lethal. So that's why we didn't double troll last turn. There's always somebody in comments thinks they see the brilliant line. Okay, it's like that. Easy chumps. And the Fairy Guide Mother. All right. Roxa's legendary, playing a second one doesn't do anything. Let's go for the trolling. So, would you like to sacrifice some things? To stay alive, are you willing to throw your little white creatures under the bus? That's the question. All right. Block here, die. Easy enough. Trample Troll. Welcome to Clack Bridge. This is the money game. We're trying to break even. And I've learned, please not blue-white control and please not fires. This deck just doesn't do anything against them. If I draw a black source, this hand is crazy. If I draw a black-red source, it's really crazy. So easy to disrupt though, isn't it? If the Hushbringer dies, my hand doesn't do anything. If I don't draw a black source, it doesn't do anything. I guess so. So I'm not sure what to fetch with this, so I'm not going to fetch yet. I'm going to play my swamp. I'm going to play Agonizing Remorse next turn and buy some time on the decision. Balls. So this is the part where I draw Agonizing Remorse, because that's what my opponents always do to me. Nope. Okay, well, we're going to get a white source with our Fabled Passage. We can wait till turn 4 to do it. What are we doing this turn? I think we'll just play in Order of the Midnight. I don't have anything I'm going to get back anytime soon. I'm probably not going to be in a grind. Well, wait, let's think about this. Who's the aggressor? It's definitely my opponent, right? But life total is a resource for these decks. Like when they play Bolus's Citadel, if their life has been under pressure, plus we learned in a past game that you can gain life for Sorin. So let's do it. Let's do it. I'm probably going to Murderous Rider this night if it's trying to solo me. If they pump it, it's definitely trying to solo me. Okay. Scorching Dragonfire, huh? So I think I shock here and just Dragonfire this. Then I don't have to use the Rider. The Rider could be better in the future. And if we let our opponent untap, they're just going to attack. Well, I guess if they attack, pass, and do nothing, I'm okay with that. So yeah, let's hold the mana up. It means our opponent will get 2 points of damage in on us that we're not going to try to interact with. And that's kind of annoying, but I don't know. Maybe it was just better to do it on my turn if we're going to do it. This way I do get to hold up Murderous Rider if there's something more important, like a Nightmare Shepherd. Exile up to 2 cards in a graveyard, gain a life. Okay. Which is Oven. So before that resolves, let's go ahead and exile the Knight of the Oven Legion. Now you have Oven Tamaret. That's not that impressive. There's not enough going on here, I'd say. But our hand isn't impressive either. Our opponent could certainly have Murderous Rider and Grey Merchant. So, do I want to Murderous Rider the Tamaret to avoid getting double Grey Merchant? I don't think so. I think I just need to work on getting some life back. So we'll play out Sorin. We'll gain 2 life from our Order of the Midnight. We'll gain another life from this ping. Start a little bit of a counter race. And try to hold this for a Nightmare Shepherd and a Yara, some creature that gives the opponent card advantage. There are usually plenty in that deck. They're going face. Ignoring the Sorin. Ooh, that's it? Whoa, that's a big miss. And our opponent has 4 lands on the battlefield, so they have Grey Merchant in hand and maybe Bolas's Citadel. It's the way I see it. If they had a Murderous Rider, they'd play it. Or maybe they don't want to give me something to use my Murderous Rider on, but that's kind of strange. Not a tremendous long-term strategy. Alright, let's make sure we leave up the black. Get a Hushbringer online. It's very good against these decks. The opponent, if they kill it, they can also exile it with Temerat, which might be a problem. Okay, here's Rankle. I think we take out Rankle. Rankle's an annoying one. Let's see, if Rankle hits us, they make us discard this anyway. Into the oven means I lose my 2/3. I do have a card in the graveyard if I draw Kroxa. Now's where we need to draw the Troll. Still ignoring Sorin. Land. So there is a question of whether or not we shock when we play this Godless Shrine and then draw a card with the castle in case we draw a 2-drop. I guess I have enough in my deck that that's worth doing, and we're going to gain some life anyway. Good. Maybe next turn that will be a thing. So for this turn we can... No, where are you going? I was going to minus and get back my Murderous Rider. We got to 4 and 2. Yes. Got my monies back. Also, I forgot to hit record on a game where we trounced mono red. Very sad about that. No white source. The Shadow Spear isn't its finest here. And there's no creatures to go with the Hushbringer. I think that makes it a mulligan. Now we have all the mana, the Hushbringer, the Vengeful Bloodlord, and 2 Bonecrusher Giants. I can keep that. It's hard to get rid of a Bonecrusher Giant, but I will. They can be so good in the right matchups. And what is our matchup? Temple of Silence? Is this another control deck? I don't know if we can beat a control deck of any kind. Agonizing Remorse is our best card, and we don't have it. We could always God draw, like Hushbringer, into some of the juice, but it looks like we're up against possibly a Doom Foretold. Like, this is not... We do not have game in these matchups. Our Planeswalkers are 2 creature reliant. Our interaction... Nothing's good. Alright. I could play this Bonecrusher Giant. It's the victim of another Oath of Kaya, but then I guess we can get it back, and that's probably our best way to try to compete, is to smash through this wall and be attacking. Okay. Let's go, Sorin. More bone crushing, please. That's a lot of cards. That's a lot of cards. Green? 4 colors. What's the green do? Enigmatic Incarnation, I'm guessing. That'll be fun to watch, at least. Big Troll. Embercleave. Alright, we'll see what happens. If the opponent wraths us, I guess we get back a Hushbringer. Nothing too exciting. Okay. Sure. Is it a Wrath? They have the mana for it. No, it's an Oath of Kaya. Unfortunately, they'll probably be keeping my Clackbridge Troll from attacking for a while. But maybe they'll let it go. See, we can Dragonfire the Goat. Maybe the opponent won't want to give up the wall. Elspeth Conquers Death. Doesn't have a great target here. Ah, man, but if we Scorch the Goat, we don't have the mana to play the Cleave. Unless I have a way to attack with another creature, which I don't see. So Elspeth Conquers Death is for Doom Foretold. We want to keep permanents on the battlefield before that happens. Alright, let's just try going to combat. Casual. Hey, would you like to not sacrifice something? Oh, you did. Well, they're not afraid of giving me cards, are they? I guess we could play Elspeth Conquers Death and exile the Oath of Kaya. It's also good against Enigmatic Incarnation. I'm not doing anything with my mana otherwise. Give me that Hushbringer. Yeah, let's just insulate from Doom Foretold. And try to set up this Embercleave. It's possible we can get it next turn if the opponent has kind of a whiff turn. That makes me unhappy. Very unhappy. That was not good. What are we getting back? A giant? All right. Where's my darn troll? I guess it's still a live top deck at this point. The amount of heals in these decks is insane. Like, our opponents have barely been below 20 with a Treacherous Blessing on the field most of the game. They're looking in the graveyard. They don't have anything good. No. Won't stop them from dancing. I could exile my own Hushbringer with Scorching Dragonfire to prevent the life gain. I don't think that's good, though. Not good enough. Also, having this in the graveyard and not exiled matters. Alright, so bring back Sorin. Put a loyalty on it. Still nothing in the graveyard for their Elspeth to bring back. We have an additional cost because of Elspeth's Chapter 2 here. Let's get the Bone Crusher, something to put a cleave on. Play the Shadow Spear because we can. I mean, if they have a Doom Foretold, I guess it's going to be a while before it goes off. I may as well play my land. Let's equip you. Mana we don't have to spend next turn. Also plays around Oath of Kaya. Walls for days. Seems fishy. Jump in there. Is there going to be anything to use these Dragonfires on in this matchup? So I think their plan is probably to Wrath after this. 6, 12. I mean, I would just basically trade for all the walls, which isn't that important to me yet. Brood. See what they exile. Might choose the cleave. The giant. Alright, we have a Hushbringer to bring back, I suppose. Not the strongest or the best. How about a troll off the top? Can I get a troll? One time? Hey, I used up my one time and it didn't happen. That's all the basics out of my deck, by the way. No Kroxa either. Like, Kroxa is our most resilient threat because it can keep coming back. Have we seen it? No. Kroxa also can't be targeted by Elspeth who conquers death. Noticeably absent here today. But Soren's been working overtime. Soren is trying, you know? Soren really wants this to work. Play around Oath of Kaya. Send it on over. Our 2 of Scorching Dragonfire for those aggro matchups and those opposing titans. And you know when they show up against Dance of the Frickin' Mans. It's enough to drive me mad. And this looks like it's going to wrap up the game. Although, Hushbringer... You get none of these effects because Hushbringer. Wait a minute. Why do you get this effect? I guess that's how sagas work. You put the lore counter on it. That's why. That's annoying. And why do you get the planes? Yeah, okay, so I guess sagas you still get what you need. That's really angering. That's anger inducing right there. Wow, I was meant to lose this game badly. Send a message. Never give up, never surrender. Yep. They gotta find a creature or planeswalker, something to get back. That bad chapter 3 on Elspeth Conquers Death, it's just an expensive removal spell. It disheartens me. Alright, let's try to keep Soren around for another turn, because why not? Get this exiled. Oh, it didn't save Soren, actually. I thought Soren had one more loyalty than he did. Uh-huh. What an ugly game. I am sorry, everybody. I can't make them all good. Ugh. Alright, let's grab those prizes. 500 gold back and a few uncommons. Nothing to write home about. Let's talk about the deck. You guys seem to like this. Let's go back and talk about the deck. Sum it up. This deck is fun. This deck, in its form, can't compete with anything with a bigger end game than a Hushbringer Titan type thing. Without the God draw, which as we saw, just doesn't happen. Like, it's really hard to go Hushbringer into Kroxa into Clackbridge Troll. It's like 1 out of every 8 games if you're running pretty good, you know. It's really hard to do. It just doesn't come together enough, mostly because this is a 2 toughness creature that dies really easily. The best draws would be like Remorse, Hushbringer, Kroxa, Troll. Really inconsistent. I could sit here and record for probably 2 hours and put up 3 games where I did it every game, and that's when you would probably think this deck was great. But it's too inconsistent. So without those draws, you can't compete with control. You can't compete with mid-range. Like, the other mid-range decks are just better. What we didn't get to see this deck do, where it's very good, and that's because I failed to hit record, was it did trounce on mono red. There's a lot of removal and lifelink and big bodies. It trounces on Simic, which we didn't get to see, which I think you guys would enjoy a lot, because Hushbringer kind of makes a mockery of what that deck's trying to do, and it is solid against mono black decks. The things I would change the most, I want another Plains in the deck. The castle never did it, and I had plenty of opportunities to fetch another Plains that I really wanted. Order of Midnight can go. Sorin was great. Order of Midnight was pretty bad. I didn't play it well in some cases. There are 2 more Sorins in the sideboard, as you see here. By the way, this is not a sideboard I recommend. Like, I don't understand what's going on with Mirror Shield and Deafening Silence. This was the sideboard I inherited from the original builder, who is definitely a brewer at heart, and they get credit for making a pretty sweet deck, but I don't know what to tell you about Mirror Shield. I really don't. Murderous Rider actually had some issues, and so did Scorching Dragonfire, with just finding the right targets. I think I'd cut the Dragonfires since Bone Crusher does a similar job. And I want Mortify. I really want more Mortify, I think. Because another problem was we're not filling our graveyard for Kroxa, so we want our removal spells to go to the graveyard. Murderous Rider and Bone Crusher Giant don't, which is a little awkward. So trying to figure out the balance of that is difficult. I didn't mind the Shadow Spear if you love it, but I would cut it too if you don't have it, or like me, think it's a pretty medium card. Embercleave is the only real way to steal games in some of those spots. So maybe 2 isn't enough, or maybe it needs to be abandoned altogether in favor of a different plan. So I'm still looking for like 2 more cards. They should be decent against control. Something that gives control a very hard time. Something that gives the deck some more resilience would be nice. I wonder if there's a world where we would just want to play Command the Dreadhorde, because you can get back Hushbringer and Clackbridge Troll and get them right away. Just immediately have your combo along with other toys on the battlefield. Maybe there's a place for that. It's hard to go up to like a bunch of 6-drops when your deck is this mid-range deck with no card draw. But that's the next thing I would test. I am glad that we got to 4 wins. I wasn't honestly sure, to tell you all the truth, that I would with a Hushbringer Titan deck, but there is a lot of power there. It just comes up extremely short against strategies that pack really answers of any kind without a perfect draw. All right, thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.